Welcome, ID Crisis. How are you, sir?
There he is.
There he is.
Yes!
Let's rock!
Be quiet.
What is up, everybody? I'm just slinging some paint tonight, using some alpha enamels, and I'd seen some demo. I hope you guys can hear me okay, because I'm working off of an old iPhone that's sitting overhead, which is why I can't seem to get the video to landscape the way that I wanted to, because StreamYards doesn't understand how to read minds. Anyways. So I'd seen somebody using one of the Vondego lightsabers to do some script. So I was going to play around with that, trying not to have a care in the world, because that's one of the best ways to practice, I think. When I tell people, when they ask me, what do you think about practice? How should I practice? And usually it's with concerning the airbrush, and I'll say first thing is, don't try to draw anything. Just splatter paint, make a mess, try to understand the way that the brush works, skinny lines, fat lines, far away, close up, get to know the tool. But don't try to draw anything, because it'll just make you it's frustrating. It'll be even more frustrating. So don't have a plan. And I've got so many brushes that I have not played around with, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I am out there live, not caring one bit. So, and I'm working off of old phones. I got one phone. I'm looking at the chat. I hope the chat shows up somehow, so that I can interact and chat with everyone in the studio. And I'm just gonna start trying to do some script here with this Vondego Pro Series lightsaber. It's the LH2. And so here we go. hopefully my head doesn't get in the way. I've got some cables, making sure that the phone stays charged, and I don't want to knock into anything or hit anything. We'll see how it goes. If I'm going to keep doing this, I feel like I'm going to have to get a third camera for this table over here, because I'm a little bit in a cramped condition for all of the things that I want to try to do. I've got a drawing table for drawing. I've got a paint slash vinyl table for doing this and cutting vinyl. And I thought I would be able to get one of these old iPhone cameras to work correctly, but what are you going to do? Live and learn. Remember, when it comes to this practice thing, especially if you're practicing out in the open, out in public, which is how I learned to airbrush out in the middle of an amusement park with more than a few people who did not care whether I could hear their comments or not. I feel like it's not a bad idea to get back out into that. The world, not unlike the internet, can be a cruel place. And very much like trying to understand how the airbrush works in a public setting, I want to get to know these brushes a little bit more in a public setting. And if I'm understanding this StreamYard software on my phone, I have 3 instances of myself. One is the camera, this. One is the computer which set up the whole thing. And the other one is just me watching the chat in case there is anything. See, there's my friggin' head. I can see it right there. I know this is not typically the brush that you use for script, but I saw somebody else doing it, and the only real change that I've made is that I'm using a larger brush for larger letters, because the camera is at an orientation that is not it's way up high. I want to make sure people can see what's going on. Alpha enamels is not something that I use very often. A couple of years ago, there was a tattoo artist all the way over in Washington State who decided that, well, apparently he was doing some pretty good ink work, because he said he got too busy with clients to justify owning all of this, pinstripe work, equipment, and he decided to sell it. And I got for like $400 the entire spectrum of alpha enamels and a box of brushes, a whole bunch of brushes that some of them, I mean, some liners, some letterers, all of these long bobs. The Von Dago lightsabers I spent money on myself. I know how good those are. And they feel pretty good. It's gotta. I mean, there are so many different variables involved. One of them is air temperature. I'm in the basement. I have a electric heater going. I think I've got a little bit of the alpha enamel low temp, some high temp. Kind of splitting the baby on that. And this is not a what would you call it? A body of paint that I'm used to working with. I don't usually use liners. I don't usually use a good scroll brush to do lettering with, but it is literally, this is playtime. You get to see in real time how I am not trying to impress anybody. See, I got somebody chiming in. Squaw Bob, what is happening, man? Thanks for showing up. Yeah, this is all going to get wiped off as soon as I'm done critiquing it, which will happen in my head silently. But these brushes are typically used for designs such as that. Expert, what is going on, bro? I hope everything's looking up in the orange state of Tennessee. All right, everybody ready? Because this is going to happen. This is playtime. That felt good. I was supposed to go and drive for just 30 minutes to have dinner and discuss something with one of my design clients earlier, but unfortunately they had a plumbing emergency, and oh well. Which gave me plenty of time to pick up all of the dog poop that had showed up after the snow melted. Oh, happy day. I mean, garbage day is tomorrow. You know, you got to time these things just right. I'm going to try I'm gonna rinse off my Vondago. By the way, I've got the whole set. This is like size, I think, 00 to size 4. There's a few brushes. In case anybody's wondering, any of the stripers out there that are wondering what happens, you get your brush cleaned out, you get it oiled up. I've said it in previous videos. I had an old timer tell me that 30 weight non-detergent motor oil is a good oil. There's a lot of good oils out there to take care of your brushes. Needs foot oil. Vondago offers a brush oil as well. But I've had good luck with this, so that's kind of what I use. But I'll endorse anybody for the right amount of money. I can be bought. I'm just saying. I mean, tongue in cheek, I can be bought, but I ain't cheap. Right, this is a Wizard Mac. Buddy Steve, he's got a couple of brushes under his belt. This is just one of them. He does the Typhoon. I think the one is the Typhoon. I think one's a Hurricane. They're all scrolling brushes. This is the Black Widow. I'm going to try some little designs that I thought up while I was bored at work. It goes a little something like this. Wrote a little song about it. Like to hear, here go. Whoops. That's not what I meant to do. Nobody saw that. I don't normally do a lot of typical truck type stuff. I do have a trucking company that I do some design work for, but a lot of pinstripers end up doing, when you start working on trucks, you do typical truck stuff. I never have, so most of the stuff that I do on trucks is what I would consider to be atypical. My head getting in the way again. Let me see if I can. I need to fix this. I can't stand when that happens. I need to be over here and then this way. That might help. Because I can't move. A lot of times you'll move the panel around. I can't do that. I have it taped down so that you can see like where the camera actually hits. Yeah. From here, well, from the tape to the tape. Yoy, yoy, yoy. There's the head. Just this is not something that I've gotten used to yet. Working with the camera in mind, um, trying to stay out of the shot when most of what this is, all of this stuff, you're usually 6 inches away from it. So you're like on top of it doing your thing, but that doesn't. Am I losing my hair? You're usually right on top of it, and there's no camera watching, so whoop-de-doo. But hey, whatever. This is just practice. I'd like to think I could see this on a truck door. Then the real challenge is, can you go right to left? Let's find out. It's just playtime. It might look like shit. I won't care. I promise. I'm promising myself. We're just having fun, painting happy pinstripes, painting happy lines and swirlies. You never know what's going to happen. It's your world. You stripe it. It's your world. You stripe it. Where am I at? Where's my... Ah, there we go. That's my guy right there. Yeah. I kind of knew it was happening while I was working on these, like, because I kind of like sketched some of these things out with a ballpoint pen, And one of the things that I noticed while I was doing it was they're all going in the same, direction, kind of. So, and pinstriping is nothing if not very often symmetrical. Let's start over here. One of the things about this art, like from the very beginning, what you're told is if you're right-handed, you start on the left so that you can see what you did from one side to the next. In this case, if I was to go from the, did I say from the right to the left? From the left to the right. If you're right-handed, you start on the left side so that you can match stroke, stroke, stroke. You do it left, right, left, right, left, right. If you're left-handed, you start on the right and you go that way. So if I was going to do something like this on a truck door on the side that I am not, you're left-handed on one side, or you're right-handed on one side, you got to do in the opposite direction on the other side. So then what? thinner. If the paint's not thin enough, it's not going to flow off the brush the way it's supposed to. If it's too thin, it's going to flow off the brush hairs faster than you want. So when you're paletting, part of what you're doing is feeling how much drag there is on the brush. And depending on the style of pinstriping that you're doing is going to, dictate how much drag or lack of drag you want. You have to feel it. It's just something that you got to get used to. I went over there. I'm not going to care about that massive, ugly mistake. I'm not going to care. I told myself I wasn't going to cry. I promised myself I wasn't going to cry. See, while I can't even see what's going on, I can only tell by the pressure, because literally the fingers and the knuckles of this hand going this way, I'm blocking. I can't see what's going on. So it's a little unwieldy. But I like this element right here. I would throw this. I would throw this on a truck. Using my trusty Wizard Mac Black Widow. Thank you, Steve. In case anybody wants to get a really good idea on how to do this, Steve Chazake at Wizard Airbrush Graphics. He runs classes all the time, sells videos. This is the guy that got me into pinstriping. And we're friends to this day. I would... some of the best money I've ever spent. I'm just having fun. Happy lines. Happy stripes. All right. Just paletting here. And I want to keep doing something similar to that design, because it's something that I want to be able to walk up to a door or a bag on a bike or something and just slap it on there without thinking about it. It's part of the magic show. When you watch somebody airbrushing a t-shirt or pinstriping something, it's just they walk up there and they do something that you've seen for the first time. But here's the secret. They've done it many times, or something like it, something similar. Every one of these designs is like a fingerprint, but the strokes are all, generally speaking, they're all very similar. The motion is similar. But this like S curve, that's a typical design element on any truck. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like it. This looks like a tangent to me. These lines shouldn't be as close. They should be crossing. IMO. What are you going to do? Let's see. Can you see back here? This Alpha 6 stuff, it's a little, I don't want to say slippery. but it has a more of a. I don't know if you guys can hear my wife sneezing upstairs. It's got a plastic quality to it. I know it's an enamel. Um, I can't really. It's the only way that I know I can describe it. I would like to use it more for some portrait work. It because it feels like it. I know that it isn't one, but it feels like an acrylic. It feels like something that I want to use artist brushes with. In fact, I mean, as long as we're playing, and I'm getting these wacky ideas. I mean, I'm getting these wacky ideas on doing something like that. Then let's see. Let's do a simple face with some scrubby old. Oh, this is one of my favorites. This brush is so old and nasty. Okay, we'll just let's see. Scrubby old brushes. Not bad for blocking things in. I wouldn't try to use it for any detail work, although I have been able to get a pretty decent texture out of it if I just use the tips. That's it in there. If that would brush dies and curls up because I've got it in too much lacquer thinner, then who cares? I could probably get just as much detail out of using a coffee stirrer. Now, and so as I was saying before, with a lot of those similar strokes and stuff, where it looks like magic to you, but a lot of those strokes are similar. They're used over and over and over again, and in various combinations. Um, the same thing happens with elements like this. You may have guessed at this point that this is not the first time that I've painted this face or something like it. It's just an understanding of basic facial structures, and that's why it looks the way it does right off the bat. If I want to kind of blur this out so that I can add detail somewhere else, I could do that with a towel or whatever. But I only got the one color out so far. Let me see. I've got some other brushes I can use. And this is a great subtractive thing too. What you can do is, put your brush in a little bit thinner and erase. And take some areas away. Put your brush in a little bit thinner, and then kind of use it as a mop. So if you're doing mural work on a bike or a car and you're using these enamels, don't forget that you can get a lot of detail just from subtracting. Happy, well, not really happy. I mean, he kind of looks angry. But he's happier than I was this morning when I was 4 cars deep, looking at a left turn arrow, and everybody else went except for the car in front of me. And by the time I got up to my turn to turn, the light turned red. Ironically, listening to some daily audio Bible podcast while simultaneously pounding the car horn. Doesn't sound very Christian, but you know what I mean? It's a madhouse out there. Lord, forgive me. I see that the expert is starting a show about the ICE protests. Some terrible lessons learned today, unfortunately. You hate to see it. It's odd the amount of times that we have seen normal, average, everyday people learn what concrete feels like. The reality of the FAFO of it all. Terrible. Seriously, this is not a video game. Please, if you're out there, if you got some ideas, will you please think first before you decide to go hero? There is no reset button. My red. I think this is not something that I actually did really well in mixed media class. And I'm not going to take the entire blame. I was supposed to do an oil wash, which is basically what this is. It's just with enamels. You get a little bit of oil, and you get some turpentine or whatever they're thinning their oils with, and it's very subtractive, kind of like what you see happening here. I went into the art supply store, and asked the guy behind the counter. I said, I need some oil paint, and I trusted the gentleman. This is a long time ago. I was bitter for a little bit, but I'm okay now. Bro gave me watercolor, and I didn't know that. So when I tried to thin watercolor gouache out with turpentine, I couldn't figure out why it was turning into these like little balls of color. So I gave up, took the F, because what the F? Okay. I mean, this whole thing really started off. Okay, so this brush here, I'm just gonna say, and that's just in case Wizard is watching right now. I've had this since you abandoned it at the World of Wheels in Pittsburgh, all those many years ago, and I've got it held together here with some JB Weld. It was caked with paint. I brought it back to life, and the only reason why I still use it is because I believe, probably not true because, you know, I don't really believe in magic, but I do believe in mojo. I believe there's mojo on this brush, and that's one of the reasons why I keep it around. Now I'm going to put some flourishes on either side of this thing, and then I'm going to call it because so let's go left. No, I don't like that. See if I can duplicate that. It's going to go out, in, down. Okay. Out. Good enough for government work. Wrong way. Oh well. 45 minutes is good enough for me. I'm gonna let this brush soak in here. It's got issues because it's a keepsake, but peace out, you cats. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'm going to try to do this more regularly, of course, as time allows. Enjoy this. Where are my media assets?
I have enjoyed this conversation in English.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I am going to see it again and again.
Listen.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.
Yeah, said Dave. The end.